All right, guys, welcome back to the second part of the video. Now we're going to look at how to balance T accounts and then convert this information from the previous question on Drapers Diapers. So we've got all the transaction information there, convert it from T account into the trial balance, which is the final step. Okay, so we're going to make our way down the list of T accounts, balance them up, and then put them into the trial balance. Okay, we'll start with the easy ones first. So these are the transactions with only one entry on one side. Okay, so for something like utilities here, the account balance is clearly 1900. Stock, the account balance is 2000. Okay, for purchase returns, so we're looking here for accounts with only one entry on one side. Okay, so we've got multiple entries here, multiple entries there, etc. Discount allowed. Entry on one side. So these are all just account balances. Okay, because they've only got one entry. Okay. So now we're going to look for accounts where we've got multiple entries on one side only. All right, so for something like sales, I can actually add those amounts up and that'll give me my account balance. In this case, $16,700 is my account balance. I keep working my way through the list of accounts I've got. This one's got multiple entries, so I'll do that last. Same with this one. The loan has got multiple entries, but only on one side. So that's going to be $37,000. Those amounts added up. Creditors have got multiple entries on both sides. I'll leave that for now. Capital, can add those up to $14,500. If I keep working my way down, I've got multiple entries here on both sides. I'll leave that, and then they're all done. So now I'm going to go to the, the hardest stage of formally balancing, which is where you've got entries on both sides. Okay, like I do with the bank account here. Okay, in terms of the process here, add up the largest side. So if I add up both sides, just do it on my calculator and figure out what side's biggest. Once I've done that, then I need you to copy that total onto both sides of the T account. So 75,316, 75,316. Now I know that that's the left-hand side because I have the answers in front of me, but I would ordinarily do this in my calculator and figure out what side's bigger. Get the biggest total carried across to the other side. Then there is a missing number because 11,956 plus $2,000 does not add up to 75,316. So what is missing is the bank account balance or the balancing figure. Okay, how I solve for that? This amount here is actually going to tell me what the value of my bank account is. Okay, so if I 75,316, take these numbers here, will give me my account balance, which in this case is 61,360. Okay, the final step is to carry that down to the bigger side. Balance 61,360, and then just put a circle around it. The circle is going to matter in a second. Because that tells me that the left-hand side or the debit side is bigger than the right-hand side. Okay, it's an important step. Make sure you do that. I keep making my way down. I've all balanced all these accounts. Debtor Murphy. Okay, so again, I've got entries on both sides. I add up the largest side and carry it across. The unique thing about these particular accounts is that they actually already add up. Both sides add up to $23,000. So the account balance is actually zero. What does that mean? The debtor is actually paid off his account off in full. Okay, that's actually going to be the same for the creditor here. Okay, both of these sides add up to 12,900. So we owe the creditor nothing. Okay, and you've found that out from the previous video. Keep making our way down. Okay, so now we got purchases at the bottom. Okay, so again, add up the largest side. In this case, it's the left-hand side, carry it across. And then I need to solve for my account balance. okay, which in this case, for this business, is going to be what? 2,700. That tells me that this side is bigger than that one by 2,700. So carry it down to the other side and put a circle around it. And the rest of my T accounts are all done. Okay, from here, we use this information from the T accounts to complete a trial balance. All right, so continuing on from this particular question, we've got all the information from our T accounts. Now we just need to reproduce that into a trial balance. The trial balance is just going to show us a list of all our account balances. That's why you go through that process of adding up and balancing all your T accounts. Okay, so I'm just going to go top to bottom. In our bank T account, look for the circle. Okay, we circled the amount 61,360. That account balance was on the left-hand side or on the debit side. Okay, so that's what we're recording here. Okay, our account balance, right, our left-hand side, our debit side was bigger than the right-hand side by 61,360. That's another way to interpret that. Okay, so look for the circle. Our utilities. We had a balance on the debit side, that $1,900 was on the left-hand side. Our stock had a balance of $2,000, also on the debit side or also on the left-hand side, hence it being in the debit column. Our loan had a balance of $37,000, and that balance is on the credit side. So we record it on the credit side here. Capital had a balance of $14,500, also on the credit side, so it's recorded in the credit column here. Sales. Balance of that T account was $16,700 on the credit side. So it's recorded in the credit column here. Purchases. Again, look for the circle. The circle is on the debit side. So it's recorded on the debit side here. Another way to interpret that, the debit side of that T account is bigger than the credit side by 2,700. Drawings. Our balance is on the debit side for 1,200. Sales returns. Our balance is on the debit side for 200. Discount received. Our balance is on the credit side. Discount allowed. Our balance is on the debit side. Interest received, or interest revenue, our balance is on the credit side. And lastly, purchases returns. Our balance is on the credit side. Now, you notice a couple of accounts are missing. We haven't included the debtor and we haven't included the creditor because their account balances are zero. There's no need to include them in the trial balance. So in terms of if you're not sure why these accounts are on their respective sides, look at the T accounts themselves. So if I take you back just to have a look there, then I guess the key skill with this is recognizing what side the balance is on. So the sales returns, we said, had a debit side balance. That's because the $200 is on the left-hand side or on the debit side there. Okay, interest revenue has a credit side balance. So it's recorded as on the credit side in the trial balance itself. Okay, so the last step to do with these particular questions is just to calculate your total debits and your total credits. So how to do that? add up everything in your debit column. If you do that for this question, you'll get 70,044. And if you add up your total credits, you'll get 70,044. Okay, so that's a way. Oops. That's the final step in the process, is to make sure you add up everything in the debit column and the credit column. If they add up, there's a very high likelihood you've got 100%. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that's helped. Cheers.